Latest immigration news. What's going on? How are you? How are you feeling this lovely afternoon, March 20th, 2025? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments, okay? I'm making this video because I have a lot of things to explain as far as immigration news are concerned. But before we get into it, we want to acknowledge the fact that we just received on the spot an approval of a I-6 01 waiver of the grounds of inadmissibility. I'm just coming from Portland, Maine, where we had a marriage green court based type of interview, but you know there were some issues of misrepresentation involved in the case, and we had to file with a waiver, as you know it, and then great news is that the officer approved the waiver, the I-130, I-485 on the spot. I've never seen a waiver being approved on the spot, but that was our first to be approved on the spot. That's really great news. I guess we can call ourselves experts on waivers. We get waivers approved, but usually they will review the case first and then send you the approval notice after the fact. But this one was pretty clear to the officer, I guess, the way we presented the case, and they got approved on the spot. This is really great news. Moving on, let's get right into the latest immigration news. Let's start with DACA, okay? What's going on with DACA? Well, DACA applicant, the great news is that the ruling came. The Fifth Circuit Court issued a ruling on DACA, which says that new applicant, okay? The ruling is basically opening the program up for the first time application in all 50 states, okay? But they're ending work permit access for DACA recipient in Texas and keeping only the deportation protection part of the DACA program. The good news is that when you get a DACA is a deferred action. If the DACA is actually approved, it's preventing DHS from exercising or executing a removal order, or just it's preventing them from placing you in removal proceedings if you haven't been placed there yet. So it's a protection against deportation. That's why it's a good news, okay? So let me just read here. The Fifth Circuit Court mandate is expected to go into effect, but the Trump administration hasn't issued an official notice yet. That's why on the USCIS website, we don't see anything. They keep talking about renewal. However, the ruling is very clear, the ruling is really talking about new applications as well. It says that this means that the first-time application should begin to be processed in all 50 states, including Texas. However, the work permit part of that part of the application in Texas, they're ending it. Okay. For now, DACA recipient in Texas can continue to have access to their work permit. The one that already have their work permit, they can continue. But we're just waiting to see how USCIS will respond. Okay. In conclusion, what can let's say a person is asking, well, I'm a new applicant, should I file an application? Well, in order to file an application, we're just going to have to wait for the USCIS to update their website as far as new applicants are concerned, right? And then, or maybe we can file, and then if USCIS denies, we can sue because of this ruling. But I'll wait a little bit to just see how it goes before applying for the DACA new time. But the renewal, they can still renew. And in Texas, the work permit part of it is no longer valid for new applicants, okay? What else can we, and then if DACA gets denied, you apply it. Let's say it gets denied, you find yourself removal. Those are the things that you have to consider prior to sending the applications, okay? Let's move on to the second news. What is the second news? Travel ban. I wanted to talk about this travel ban thing because I really want to comment a lot on the travel ban. there's a draft, okay, floating around about the 3 tiers travel ban country list. We have the red list, the orange, and the yellow list. In the red list, that's like a total ban. Orange, subject to restrictions, and yellow is basically visa suspension or something around those lines. But it's not official yet because they're waiting for those other countries to submit the report of the country before they finalize the travel ban. The question becomes, can I travel? Can I not travel? When it comes to traveling outside of the United States under this current climate, there's only one question you have to ask yourself. Are my travel plans worth the trouble of potentially being placed in removal proceedings or being detained without bond? Is it really worth it? If it's just a vacation, really, to be honest with you, I will suggest that you hold on those traveling outside of the United States, especially for green card holder, until further guidance, because it's not really clear as far as entry is concerned, who's being arrested, who's being detained. A lot of reports and a lot of rumors floating around as far as like, oh, this green card holder has been detained, this green card holder was denied entry. Bottom line is this, in this climate, okay, there's no clear guidance when it comes to CBP and the officer at the port of entry because of this mass deportation going on. And immigration, they're really cracking down on immigration in all aspects. That's why even green card holders have are in trouble. Let's just be honest, they are in trouble in terms of traveling and coming. What can I say on that subject? What I will say is this, okay? If you go on Google and you check the list, I can just cite some countries here, okay? Give me one, because I'm reading it here. Give me one moment. I'm gonna pull some country. What I was going to say is this anyway. So if you see that your country is on the ban, okay, the potential travel ban, because it's not official yet, but if you see that your country is on the on that list and you're a green card holder, at this point, try not to go, okay? Try not to go because you don't know what's gonna happen, especially if it's not an emergency, okay? If it's not an emergency, just try not to go and wait and see what is going to happen to that travel ban list. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I found it. Okay, so we have the red list countries. We have Afghanistan, Bhutan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen. Red list is total ban. Orange list is restricted travel. Okay, orange list we have Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, Pakistan, Russia, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, Turkmenistan. And then yellow list countries, we do a lot of African countries. We have Angola, Antigua, Barbuda, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome, and Principe of Vanuatu, Zimbabwe. Okay? If your country is on this list and you happen to have a green card, you might face a lot of challenges when you're coming back. So what I'll suggest at this point is to wait a little bit and see how it's going to play out, because it's not official yet, right? to wait and see how it's going to play out before you leave. And if you have criminal records, it's just don't do it, because you're just going to be placed in removal proceedings or mandatory detention. Remember, for theft crimes, mandatory detention. Yeah. What else I wanted to say? People with advanced parole, don't even try it, because really advanced parole is even not a guarantee to start with. But now with this current administration, you're just gonna be denied entry, okay? If green card holders are being denied entry, can you imagine people with advanced parole? Yeah, it's so risky at this point. Until we have a clear guidance. Just wait for things to cool off, and just go with the travel ban list, the draft, to decide whether or not you should leave, based if your country is on the list or not. Okay, that's for travel ban. Green card. This is the third news. Green card holders being placed in deportations and visas revocations, okay? Green card holder being placed in deportation or removal proceedings, what's going on? What's going on is that the Trump administration, remember they said they're going to revoke visas, first of all, if they find that your presence or your activities in the United States will have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the U.S., your presence or your activities. That's why the guy, guy from Palestine, the political activist guy, is in detention until today. He's been detained, held without, if you look at the notice to appear, they charge him with removability under Immigration Nationality Act A4CI. I don't know. And it's so vague, right? The Secretary of State has reason, if the Secretary of the State has reason to believe that your presence or activities in the United States will have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the U.S., yeah, you'll be placed in removal proceeding. And this guy is being detained, like mandatory detention. He hasn't been released yet, even on bond. So bottom line is that you have to be careful what type of activities, especially when it comes to political activities at this moment. Maybe you should refrain from it. Maybe on your social media, you should refrain from those type of activities. And then they got the visa revocation too from this Lebanon guy. I guess he was coming with a H1 type of visa, doctor, but they revoked his visa and they deny him entry because of the fact that they say that he went to attend the funeral of a gang member or somebody like around those lines. So that's just activities. When it comes to activities and anything that has to do with politics, or gang member, just refrain from those type of activities, because it might be construed differently. By the time you try to defend yourself, the guy is still in detention, right? They're defending him, but he's still in detention. So, yeah, if you have a lot to lose, just refrain from that. That was that. I talk about it. Yeah, USCIS is now sending people to removal proceedings if an application gets denied. I think I have to make a specific video for this, but what I want to say in short is that if you're applying for a green card based marriage or any type of petition, make sure like you actually know in terms of whether you have criminal record, whether you have fraud, misrepresentation, and if you qualify for a waiver, or if you can make a strong case for a waiver. You might qualify, but you might have a weak waiver case, right? If you assess your case and determine that you have a valid or a strong case of a waiver, then you can file, because at that point the thing will be waived and you're not going to find yourself in removal proceedings. But if you don't have a waiver, you don't even qualify for a waiver, when you file, it gets denied, it's going to be sent to court, because USCIS they just have to issue notice to appear once the case gets denied, period. Under Biden, they will determine whether the case is a priority or not before sending it to court, right? Under this administration, they're not doing it. Okay? What else? Yeah. So, news number 5, I believe, right? I talked about, I guess this is number 5. The invocation of the Alien Enemy Act based on invasion of the U.S. by the Ngwanda gang. What's going on is this, right? What happened was the Trump administration deported at least 261 Venezuelan based on the fact that they determined that they might be part of the gang member called the Ngwanda. But by the time the lawyers were arguing in court, the Trump administration already deported those people. And in their defense, they're saying that the charge order came late and it was verbal, nothing in writing, lacking specific guidelines and stuff like that. And anyway, the order came late. Those people were already in the air, like pretty much already deported. So, and that judge is not letting that go anyways. They're still fighting, even if the people are already deported, but they're still fighting in terms of how they're going to handle it. And this is really bad, because if they just determine that you might be part of the gang member, you'll be deported under the Alien Enemy Act. And without hearing, to be honest, that's what's going on. That was really breaking news. I even broke the news on my IG, if you're following me. Sometimes I make my advertisement in terms of, I break the news, put it into the context of what I'm doing. If you follow me, you will see. That's how I'm advertising lately. I'll break the news in the context of what I'm doing currently. And that's just that. And based on that, 2 DHS is detaining TPS holders and putting them in removal proceedings. Those are the people from Venezuela, based on the fact that they believe that some people are part of the gang called the Ngwanda. That's the name of I can't even pronounce it, but anyway. So if the department, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, determined that, or the Secretary of State determined that you're part of the gang member, you'll be deported without hearing. That's why it's important to just know what type of activities are you involved in, because there is a person too it's a green card holder who has been placed in removal proceedings because of, I guess, the wife was talking to somebody who's a political activist in Syria or somewhere, but then they placed the other person in removal proceedings too. And I want to add one more last thing before I stop for today. The fact that if you naturalize U.S. citizen and your country happen to be on the red list, because we have the red band, the orange, and the yellow, please don't go to those countries, especially the red, because whatever you're going to be doing there, it might be construed that your activities there. Remember, the paragraph says that the activities or presence will have a potential serious adverse foreign policy consequences in the U.S. You might get denaturalized. They might start denaturalization against you, okay? So that's what's going on. Just nowadays, really, when it comes to traveling outside, you really have to ask yourself, is this worth it, okay? If your country is on the red list and you are naturalized US citizen, avoid it because something might be. Remember, the guy was placed in removal proceedings because the wife talked to somebody in Syria or somewhere. Can you imagine? It's just like activities, but it's not even his activities, wife's activities, but they find a way to combine it. I don't know how, but anyway. So those are the things that are going on. Latest immigration news. If you need a consultation with us, of course, we call ourselves experts because it's proven that we are winning cases. Please schedule it, okay? There's no need to call because sometimes people will call just to say, oh, I called because I saw your number. No, if you're calling, it's because you need a consultation, okay? And there's no reason to call because all my consultation links are in the description box. You can just schedule it and we can talk about your case, okay? Until next time, what else? Eventually, I'll be here at some point to answer question live, but before then, I'll make video. I'll continue to make videos so to update you on what's going on. Until next time, bye-bye.